the Global Category Director of Nuts at TOMRA Food. We'd also like to thank TOMRA Food for being a silver sponsor here at Almond Conference 2021. Brendan will be presenting big data and new technologies are challenging traditional processing methods. Please give a warm welcome to Brendan O'Donnell.
Thanks, Harrison. First of all, I got to say this is way better than a webinar, like being able to see people in their face, in their eyes, so this is fantastic. So today we're going to talk about big data, analytics, and really what this means is everybody in this room that's working in processing has sorters in there, whether they're ours or whether they're somebody else's. But these sorters are constantly collecting information. So whether it's chip and scratch, insect damage, foreign material, whatever that foreign material might be, these machines are data centers. So what we're going to talk about today is what TOMRA is doing to turn these data centers into something that you can really use that will impact your business. Our agenda today, I'm going to just go pretty quickly into a company overview. Most people know who TOMRA is, and for those that do, it'll just be a brief update for the year. But most of the time today we'll talk about the digital transformation, which is broken into three pieces: TOMRA Visual Assist, TOMRA Remote Assist, and TOMRA Insight. Insight is all about data, it's about service, and it's about security. All right, so a quick look at TOMRA at a glance. TOMRA is a publicly traded company on the Norwegian Stock Exchange, founded in 1972, really designed for returning empty bottles and cans, empty beverage containers, those little vending machines where you put your bottle can in and you get your nickel back out. Through a series of different acquisitions linking new types of technology to new types of material handling, we've grown to a point now that we're over 4,300 employees globally, 9.9 billion Norwegian krona, that's about 1.1 billion US dollars. And we're divided really into three main groups. So you have the collection solutions, that includes the reverse vending machines that I spoke about. You have recycling and mining. Mining, by the way, is super interesting. Most of the largest diamonds in the world in the last, have been discovered in the last 10 years on TOMRA equipment. And then, of course, our favorite area, TOMRA Food. Looking at the food division specifically, we have 1,400 team members within our food group. We have 32 global offices, 5 production facilities. It really doesn't matter where you are in the world, there is somebody nearby from TOMRA. Today, at the Almond Conference, you can see Spain, Australia, California are all very well covered for this. The history of the TOMRA Food Group came from really a merger of several different companies. It began with Odenberg in 2011, which is an Irish potato sorting company. Most of you are already familiar with BEST, which is Belgian Electronic Sorting Technologies, and many of you have those pieces of equipment in your plant today. After that, we were able to combine with 2 different lane sorting companies, Compaq and BBC. These lane sorters grade whole products where they'll rotate the product like an apple, blueberry, cherry. And the most important thing to note about this is that every single one of these companies offered a different type of technology, a different type of methodology, and a different skill set, some knowledge about that product base. All of those companies together are now part of one TOMRA Food, and we're using the technology from all 4. The last slide that I want to mention talking about TOMRA is just about R&D. It's impossible to talk about TOMRA without talking about R&D because we are a sorting company, and we are only a sorting company. We pick one thing and we do it well. So in order for us to maintain relevance, we have to be pushing the limits of what technology can do. 16% of our employees work in R&D. We have 42 different patent families. 8% of the total revenue is reinvested back into R&D. We have partnerships with R&D institutions, universities, and we develop a lot of our own stuff, like the sensors, the software, the data processing tools. We develop a lot of that in-house. All right, so our main topic for today. We at TOMRA, we believe that digital solutions will be an enabler for the future of food, where our sorters generate data of high value for our customers, and we have the desire to lead our customers into a successful and a sustainable future. Successful and sustainable also means economical, profitable. If your business is not profitable, your business is not sustainable. So this is a very important part of what we focus on. This is one of my favorites here, a word cloud. We call this like our big data nonsense. This is, I don't mean to call it nonsense. Of course, these words matter, but we get inundated with this stuff all the time. We get talked about augmented reality industry, to 4.0, the fourth industrial revolution, Internet of Things, blockchain, data mining, cloud computing, all of this stuff, and it's just kind of constantly circulating. What I want to try to get through today is to wipe the slate clean, say, okay, we know we've heard all these words before, but let's throw them away for now. Let's just talk about what it means to our business. So how do all of these things end up affecting our business? Stage one in this process is the TOMRA Visual Assist. This is a tool that's relatively new to TOMRA. It became increasingly important over the last couple of years for obvious reasons. In the past, this was a tool that was super important for remote locations. Like I talked about diamond mining like in Botswana, that would be really important use for here. This tool is basically like FaceTime, but it has extra features in it. So you can, anybody could download this app right now if you want to. It's called Visual Support App. It looks like that gray bar right in the middle. And it gives you accessibility between the TOMRA service engineer and the person in your plant. To be able to walk around the machine, show the video. They can draw on the machine, actually both directions. You can draw on the machine both ways. You can take screen grabs. And even if you're in a loud or noisy environment, you can talk to each other through headphones. It's a really simple tool, but it's unbelievable how much this can impact your business. This is also something that should be included in your company's sustainability report. When you're talking about the amount of your carbon footprint and the people that come to service the machines, most of us now have sustainability reports, and this is just another feather in your cap that you can add. The next process here is TOMRA Remote Assist. This is a way for a TOMRA engineer to access the machine remotely, to be able to log into the machine, to be able to use the machine in the same way that an operator would use it. This is really powerful when you combine it with the TOMRA Visual Assist, because you could have somebody operating the machine and on the phone at the same time, walking around the machine, showing the different mechanical components. The way that this works is you would have the TOMRA Help Desk can log into the machine through a VPN tunnel. The only reason I mentioned VPN tunnel is because it's important to note that this is 100% isolated from the customer site's local area network, so it's entirely isolated. If you wanted an extra layer of isolation, you could always say you wanted to put this on a 4G card, which we can also do. From there, the service engineer will be able to log into the machine. They'll be able to control it remotely. One of the best examples of how this will impact your business has to do with if you have maybe your lead engineer, the person that's your most valuable employee on the machines is out sick, or they're on vacation, or they're somewhere, and you need to set up a new program. We can help you do that remotely. We do not need to send somebody out to do that. Again, this is another one of those things combined with the Visual Assist that should be part of your company's sustainability platform, because you're already doing it. It's saving you time. It's saving you money. You're increasing the amount of uptime that you have, but you're also doing something that's relevant to sustainability, and you need to take note of it. You need to get credit for it. Okay, so let's get into Insight. TOMRA Insight is actually very simple. It is a way to collect all of the data that those machines are seeing. They're seeing all kinds of things. They're seeing different types of foreign material. They're seeing pistachios and almonds. They're seeing chip and scratch. They're seeing anything that goes through the sorters. And what's been missing recently is all of that information put into a way that we can digest it, we can use it, and we can make that information into something that will make us more profitable and more efficient. And that's exactly what this does. To show you how easy it is to use, this is literally a screenshot from our login page. You simply put in your email address, password. You can have multiple user accounts. So let's say you're the owner of the company. You want to see everything, have control of everything, but you've got a plant manager that works on one side of the plant. That guy can have his own login, his own username, all of that stuff, and he can have his own limited area of view, just what you want him to see. It's almost unlimited how many users you can have. I think there is a limit, but it's hard to reach. So once you log in, you see all of your machines. These could be machines in your plant. They could be machines across multiple plants. It could be machines in different countries. It really doesn't matter. These are all of your machines. From here, you can log into different reports. And when you get into those reports, we're going to get into data. Now, the data that we get can really be broken into three critical areas. One of those is material composition. That means, what is it? Is this an almond? Is it a pistachio? Is it chip and scratch? Is it insect damage? What is it? The next one is material distribution. That means, where is it on the machine? Is everything over towards the right? Is it over towards the left? Is it evenly spread? And then the third one is the sorting decision. Just because we saw it doesn't mean you wanted to remove it. Maybe you just wanted that information for something like chip and scratch. Here I'm going to share a real world example. This is actually from a green pepper producer. But this customer said around 5 p.m. the defect reject jumped up to almost 11% compared to an average of 2% or less. Let me know if this data helps to educate the grower or any upstream processor really, and I'll send you a tidy little report to back it up. Thanks, plant manager. I added a picture of green peppers so you could see what I'm talking about. So in this case, over here in the red circle, this is an example of one of the reports that this plant manager might pull up. Over here, it'll show you the percentage of all of the different reject. So right there where that red circle is, you can see 10.6% reject. Then when you look at the time chart of what that machine was seeing over time, you can see right there around 3 a.m. you saw a spike in defect, which in this case is brown and foreign material. You see another spike a little bit later on, and then another spike even later on around 4 p.m. Now that's the one that they're really looking at here. Those different colors are representing different types of foreign material that are in here. In this case, it's red pepper. For this particular customer, red pepper is like the worst thing you could possibly have. It needs to be a perfectly uniform green pepper product. So this is really important for them to see. They can go back to that exact moment when they were running this product. They can look upstream, where did this product come from? Did it come from a specific grower? Did it come from a specific handler? They can find out where it came from, and it also gives them the power to decide what to do with it next. Maybe they're selling this to somebody that has a zero tolerance for red and green. You might choose to do something else with that product that you produced around 4 p.m., then send it to that one customer that has a zero tolerance for red and green. This is another example of that type of data that'll show you two different lots that were run. So in one case, you can see the reject was fairly high. In the other case, you can see the reject was fairly low. When you're working off of batch sampling, a small sample, whether it's 300, 400, 500 grams out of a 1-ton bin, is usually not enough to give you a perfect idea about what is in there. In this case, you are looking at 100% of every single almond that flows through the machine. That's a tremendous amount of data, and if we're not using it, then shame on us. So we should be using it, and this is how we do it. So in this case, you could say, we ran this product, maybe we thought these two products were exactly the same. Guess what? They're not the same. That might mean that you're going to choose different customers that those go to. And if you're not, then you're leaving money on the table by sending a product that's too good to a customer that's not paying for it, or vice versa, damaging your brand reputation by sending a product that does not meet customer expectations. So you have to understand what the product is in order to get the highest and best use from it. This next part with material distribution is also really important. This is often overlooked, I think, in the optical sorting world. But if you have all of your product, now this is measuring your ejections. So if you look at these bottom two charts and you see that all of those ejections are way off to the right, what that means is that all of your product is way off to the right. What does that mean? It means that you're not hitting the capacity you should be hitting, or if you are, you're way overloading the right side of that machine. You're putting too much good in your reject, and you're missing rejects. So it's really important to see this and to know in real time how is the product flowing through the machine in order to help me become as efficient as possible. On the top left, top right over here, you see those two individual bars that are kind of off the charts. What would make a specific valve fire like crazy nonstop? In this case, it's probably a dirty window or a dirty background. Now, normally when you're operating a machine, you're hearing the machine just firing constantly. And you're seeing, all of a sudden, you're seeing more good product in the reject, and you can't figure out why. So the operator's messing with the screen, he's changing the settings, he's making it more aggressive, less aggressive. He didn't need to do any of that. In this case, you just needed to clean the window. So it's really important that you have this information in order to reduce your good and bad, increase your efficiency, and really, you're not making setting adjustments that don't need to be made in the first place. Another example of this down there has to do with the total throughput and capacity. I'll give a real world example here from an almond processor that spoke to me about their specific example, which was night shift operator, machine goes down, it's down for about 3 hours, and they're not paying attention. By the time they realize it's down, they get it started back up, and in order for them to not get in trouble, they run double the speed for the rest of that shift. Well, now you've just lost an entire shift because you've run the product twice as fast you've created a ton of false reject, and you didn't remove all the rejects because you just completely overloaded the machine. Now you have the information to know that. So instead of just sending that product out or wondering why is the product spec not meeting the customer demand, you know ahead of time that there's a problem that you need to address. And then finally, the sorting decision. So I mentioned at the beginning that just because you see something doesn't mean you necessarily have to do something with it. I'll use the example of chip and scratch. You're packing a Supreme grade US #1 almond, maximum 10% chip and scratch. The product that you're putting into it is between 7 and 8% chip and scratch. You don't want to remove that. You just want to know what it is. And you want that machine to be telling you all the time. It's 7.5, it's 8.5, it's 9.5, whatever it might be. Now, if it jumps up and all of a sudden it's 25%, that can ring an alarm for you. You can say, I'm going to pull this product out, I'm going to use it for a different customer, or you can tell the machine, I do want to eject chip and scratch. But it's really important that you get this information in real time, and that's what this is doing. You could also do it based on length. I know many of us have confectionery customers where almonds have to be a specific length to fit into a certain chocolate mold. And you could do that as well. So you could say if it's above this length, then eject it. If it's below this length, eject it, whatever you want to do. But either way, you're collecting the data. Okay, and then we do have to talk about service. We're going to go through alarms, predictive failure, reporting and service history, and then of course, monitoring unscheduled downtime. In this case, one of the most important things here, these green and blue bars, this is monitoring unscheduled downtime. The green bars mean the machine is running, the product is going through it, everything's good. The blue section there means the machine is running, it's on, there's no product going through it. That's generally a problem. And then the red time is basically downtime. So when you look at a 24-hour period, you think, hey, this looks really good. This machine is running for 87% of the time with product going through it, and it's only about 11% of the time that the machine is on and there's no product going through it. But once you look at a 30-day average, you realize that 34% of the time, your machine was on, it was using electricity, it was burning light bulb hours, it was spinning polygons, it was doing all of this, and it was doing nothing for you. It was just sitting there. This, if you know about this ahead of time, you can monitor it, you can track it, you can make sure that it doesn't happen. So you're able to shut a machine down completely, save you electricity, save you parts, save you all of that, simply by knowing this information. This, again, should be included in your sustainability report. You're doing these things that are sustainable, they're saving you money, you might as well document them and get credit for it. Down here you can see logs of machine downtimes, machine warnings, alerts, and errors. In the future, this is the very near future, like early next year, we will be able to predict valve failure. So if you're shooting a particular valve way more than other valves, you'll be able to say, hey, we need to probably replace this valve before it goes down and creates downtime in the plant, so we can get ahead of it. From a service portal, you're able to see every single service report that you have. All the previous service history, you have questions about something that was in a bill from 3 months ago, you can look it up right there. It's all just very conveniently in TOMRA Insight. We also have spare parts purchase history. Let's say you purchased a part, the part 3 years ago, the part went out, you need another one. Instead of having to go dig through a manual, look it up, talk to somebody about it, you can just look up your history. Say, well, I need that same part, order that again. And then, of course, I mentioned service manuals. At the bottom here, you also have service manuals. That's another thing that we've heard from people. It can be a little bit of a pain sometimes to go find their service manual, figure out where it is. In this case, it's in Insight. So it's on your computer, it's on your phone, it's on the machine, it's wherever you want it to be, it's right there for you. This is another example of the service that you can use with Insight. In this case, we're talking about being able to do an online request for parts. So you pull up a screen, you punch in exactly what parts you need, and you hit order. That's going to be also, again, in the very, very near future, being able to order it directly from the machine. Right now, it's an online request for quotation. We're also going to have an exploded view of the machine showing you exactly what that part is so that you can double check and make sure that you are ordering exactly the part that you need. Because, of course, we all know when you order the wrong part, it's a really big pain and it takes extra time. And then the last thing that I want to mention here is security. Ever since our first experience with a Nigerian prince about 20 years ago, we were very, very concerned with security. So there's really three main points that come up with Insight. Number one, Insight is a one-way street. Data goes out, data does not go back in. That means that while data goes out and you can compute it, you can read it, you can learn from it, there's no way to control the machine or to send any information back to the machine, which means no bad actors would be able to mess with your process. Second, we're built on Microsoft Azure. If you'd like, you could go on the Microsoft Azure website and you're going to see hundreds of instantly recognizable companies. We placed a few up here like the IRS that trust their cloud computing to Azure. Third is the third-party penetration testing. This is a military-grade testing that we do, where once a quarter they come through and they try all the latest and greatest hacking techniques that are available in the world that are constantly updated every quarter. We do have some questions about what these guys do on the weekends, but I'll tell you they do a fantastic job finding any potential bugs or anything like that that are in the software, so it's always up to date. So with that, using the combination of TOMRA Visual Assist, TOMRA Remote Assist, TOMRA Insight, gathering that data together, we are constantly working towards helping your environmental footprint, towards making you more efficient, towards making you more profitable. What's best is we are running this live right now. So our booth is right across from the Almond board. It's right across from Burrell. Please come see us. We've got a screen up. We can show you machines that are running live in real time right now so that you can get a sense of what this looks like. So thank you all very much for your time, and I hope to see you there.